Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 32 of Matt and John Make a Podcast. We are fresh off our one day reaction show, and it's time to talk about some other things besides wrestling. It was a pretty big week for NFL news. It was the start of free agency. There was a lot of funny things that happened that we have much to talk about. But even though I said, oh, there is some more. There is more going on besides wrestling news. It's only fitting that we start off with some wrestling news. So, Matt, what was your reaction when you learned that WWE announced that WrestleMania will be a two-night, um, basically will be on two nights, and it's being hosted by Rob Gronkowski. So,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
first
Go ahead.
off, um, it was just, it's kind of weird that WrestleMania is going to be at the Performance Center
For
uh,
now,
for now.
for, for now.
Um, so that was the first move. Um, and then I think yesterday, as of this recording, was it yesterday? Was it Wednesday?
Yeah. Yep.
Um,
Basically, they announced it right
yeah. So
before Dynamite and NXT
yeah.
went on.
So it's 2 days, which I'm intrigued by. I kind of like it because if and plus it's going to be in different locations too. It's not all going to
And
be in one.
and to be quite frank, this has been something that I've been calling for a few years now. Just because the event has gotten so huge, and they try to get so many people on there. By doing this, like now, you're not going to tire out your audience as quickly because I mean, in hell, we've experienced it live. Like after that, like fourth or fifth hour, you're just drained. It's you're asking a lot from your audience to sit through seven,
I
8 hours of programming.
and it's weird because I don't know if I would like this in a normal case. Because let's say you're in um, a stadium with 70,000 people. Do I want to come back 2 nights in a row? Is that
I mean,
feasible?
I think it is.
I don't know.
I think it's more so if WWE just doesn't want to do it. I think that's what that comes down to,
I
because because Wrestle Kingdom did this. This was their first year doing a two-night show, which it's just it's it's a much easier sit through there. But I mean, I do think that this is, however, a special case because of the coronavirus.
yeah.
That you especially when you can't wrestle in front of an audience, I mean, it's going to be asking a lot to have a 8 hour show aired and just do it all in one night. So I do like that they did split up. It still doesn't excuse the fact that they're still airing this like in at the practice facility in front of no people. I'm still am not a very big fan of that.
Hey, hey, hang on. I gotta pause this. So where were we? Oh, WrestleMania, 2 nights. I don't know where you left off, but uh, so my thing was if they did this normally, right, the 2 nights, um, would you pay now? How does Wrestle Kingdom do it? Because I never watch it because I'm not staying up to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Mhm.
Do you pay one time for both nights?
That I don't know.
Because I mean,
I would.
at
I'm
least
sure.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sure that I mean, like knowing Vince, he'll probably charge premium price for both
But
events.
in reality, it really doesn't matter because we have the network.
Hmm.
Um, so you get it no matter it's included with your 9.99. But if they go to the rumored ESPN Plus. Do you pay $60 per night, or you pay $60 and you get both nights?
I'd be very surprised if they didn't charge both
But
for the premium.
but but who would? But do you want to pay $120 for what essentially would be,
I mean,
as
like
of now, one show?
if for me, I'm just charging one price for both nights, but just like knowing how Vince is, like he's definitely charging the maximum probably for both nights. But
Or do you charge half for one night, half for another, to be that one total that you normally would pay right now? Let's say 65, whatever it is, $65.
right,
So you pay, I'm, I forget the math, $30 for, if you just want to see Saturday, pay $30 for Saturday. Um, but I would assume they wouldn't do that because they just want to get the most money. Give you your $65, and then you have access for both nights.
but
Um,
if this stays on the network, then it doesn't really
right
matter.
then, we're talking out of our butts right now.
Right.
But it's possible. So the 2 night thing is interesting. With Gronkowski hosting that, is a good PR move, because you get. I mean, it's Rob Gronkowski.
Hmm.
You're gonna get eyes on there,
Right.
because he just retired and whatnot.
Yep.
And it's been in the news that he's signing with the WWE, if not already official.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's official.
um, so that's a good PR move. That could be possibly entertaining. Um, don't tell that to Steve Harvey like on New Year's. Remember that clip? Yeah, what was it on New Year's? It was like a big Lego thing or something, and then he picked it up and like he threw it on the ground, and Steve Harvey would just look at him and just wanted to kill him on TV. It was Gronk being like the best drunk Gronk.
Oh yeah, like oh yeah.
I think it was
Now I
this year. Yeah.
remember that. Yeah, or
Um,
it might have been the year prior, but
no, I think it
still.
was this year. I'm
Okay.
almost positive.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm interested to see, what they put on, uh, both nights, and
Hmm.
what they keep and what they don't. Um, because it's rumored. I've seen rumored cards online, which I take with a grain of salt, because until
Okay.
WB
Well,
says it.
like, what are your two main events then? For
Um, well, I think
because
on one, I'm trying to remember what I saw, and I forget where I saw it. I think
one, one,
one's Universal Championship, one's
and
the WWE.
honestly, I think I might put Edge versus Orton as one of those main events. I would not be upset if that was one of the main events.
I I wouldn't be upset, but
Mm-mm.
no, but I think the one card had the one like separation was like Saturday was all the ones everybody likes, which for some reason this didn't include Orton Edge for some reason. So I don't buy this website at all. I don't know why they. So that's why I take it with a grain of salt. You're not going to build this up and not have it. Um, like the Sunday one was like Goldberg, Reigns, Wyatt, Cena, and there's like 3 matches on Sunday. I'm like, ugh.
Why would you do a show that makes no sense?
That's
Well,
why I don't buy the one
yeah, yeah,
website I
yeah.
saw.
But why would you do if you're separating the two nights? Why would not just do half and half? Like no, that's
Ladies and
freaking
gentlemen,
dumb.
this is why you don't believe everything you read on the internet.
Um, Newsflash, people, follow Fightful, follow PW Insider, follow the
This link.
Observer. Exactly. Like those are the three sites. the
or four,
the
3 or 4.
yeah, like ringside news, like the biggest clickbait site that you can imagine, which
What
I'm
site?
glad. It's called Ringside News. It's the
Oh,
biggest clickbait site in the world. But
oh, you get a
um,
little pixelated on my screen. Oh well,
all right,
it is.
but
It is what it is.
yeah, but
Discord, gonna love Discord.
yeah,
So I'm just interested to see what happens because um, this is again we said this earlier in the week on our AEW NXT reaction show that this is unprecedented waters, if you will, uncharted waters. That's the phrase, um, if you will,
and
in this time in this business, because wrestling is pretty much the only form of sports um, that we
and while
have.
And while we're kind of on that topic, do you have any reaction to where and I pretty much expected this and I'm kind of surprised that AEW didn't actually crack a million viewers just because NXT was essentially running
A video
a
package show.
yeah, a video package show, but they did 932,000 viewers in NXT. Believe only did
Yeah,
542,000.
that's. I think that is consistent. If I was reading past ratings right, is when like NXT does a recorded show or something like that, they
Oh
get
yeah,
at least around 500, and
yeah.
you get that boost to in the nine hundred
Mhm.
thousands for AEW. So I'm not shocked if anybody's like, oh, look what was on TV. Look what
Exactly.
NXT did. Look what AEW. Of course, AEW is going to win. If AEW didn't win or didn't
That would have been.
destroy NXT, then you have a problem.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean,
this
like,
is
it was essentially what I expected. Once you found out that basically that NXT was just doing just strictly video packages and some old footage of some other shows, it's just like, well, okay, like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that AEW is going to have a really good week this week
that's
from
like
the video.
saying if you have two TV shows, sitcoms, dramas, whatever, what have you, on two different networks, let's say CBS, NBC, and one's airing a rerun and one's new on the other thing, the other show, and let's say they're relatively close week in, week out, the other one's going to win that's new
Mhm. Right.
because nobody's going to watch a rerun, or not as
Mhm.
many people. That's essentially what happened here. And if you wanted to watch NXT, good for you. If you wanted, if that appealed to you, whoop de doo. And I kept my eyes on both since we were talking about both. Um,
And with me, I primarily watch all elite wrestling. It's just like I feel like that people just get too caught up with just like judging and like criticizing other shows when not everyone is going to like the same exact things. It's just like people have different tastes, man, and like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like I really do laugh week to week, and like I see it every week on Twitter, especially with Dynamite. Like that show is nitpicked to hell. And it's one thing to bring up some valid criticisms, but like I mean, Matt, just hear this one. There was criticisms because AEW was bringing in some more WWE guys, i.e., Harper and Matt Hardy. Although, if you remember back in the Attitude Era, when the guys like the Big Show, Steve Austin, Triple H, a lot of those guys, man, came from WCW. You didn't see people saying, "Oh, they are just old WCW guys. WWF really is making any stars here." It's just like things like that, and like in things in comments like that where you just know that those fans aren't watching the shows, especially when you see guys such as Hangman Page, Darby Allin, MJF, um, um, Jungle Boy. It's just like it does give me entertainment, but like you just a lot of these people you just can't take seriously because it's not really valid criticism. I'm not sure if you feel that way too or not, but
Well,
yeah,
I agree. I mean, that argument about bringing in other people,
God
that's
forbid.
stupid. What about Impact?
I don't know.
Back in
I
the
mean,
day, back when it was relevant. Um,
well, and the major difference.
Christian Angle, they brought in Sting. That was WCW.
Kevin
Was done.
Nash, Scott
R-
Steiner. I mean,
RVD,
Booker
Booker
T,
T, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff,
Tommy
um,
Dreamer. I
Tommy.
mean,
Like
Raven.
pretty much like 80% of the roster was.
But the major differences between AEW and TNA, they're not dependent on these older veterans to draw for them. And that's going to be the major difference with this company. And I don't know why people can't see this and they automatically point to Chris Jericho. They're like, oh, he was the first world heavyweight champion. Yes, because he's Chris Jericho. He's a world renowned star and a huge rock star on top of that. Like it I mean, like it's and we've been over this so many times. If you can't understand why AEW put it did not why they put the title on him uh, when they're going right into TV on TNT, you need a recognizable name as your world champion. No offense to Hangman Page at the time, but at that time he had no steam, was not really over, and was not ready for that spot. That's why you put the title onto Jericho and you do a complete rebuild with Hangman Page because now the Hangman Page now you could definitely put that title on him and it looks damn good. So it's just it's small things like that, but we're getting a little bit off topic. We kind of already discussed all elite
Yes.
wrestling, but to kind of change gears here, Matt. It was a wild week for NFL free agency.
Sporty news.
Yeah, and I just typed down some of the things that happened because there was a lot. We'll just start with the Steelers first. Just to kind of just run through some things here. So the Steelers they did end up franchise tagging Bud Dupree, which means he'll make about $16 million this season. Not really surprised about that. They did however let go Hargrave, PJ Finney signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Um, Steelers also cut the Steelers also cut Mark Barron, Anthony Chicolo, and Johnny Holton and Roosevelt Nix, and also Ramon Foster retired. And to my surprise, Matt, we don't we we don't have one Watt brother. We got two Watt brothers now.
Feel the power.
So like how like what kind of like dumb trade would would uh, would Bill O'Brien accept for to bring on JJ Watt? like
A bag of chips and a six pack.
that trade of DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I honestly thought when that came out, I thought that was a Adam Schefter parody account. I was like, this can't be real because they literally traded a top three wide receiver and also traded away, I believe, a fourth round pick on top of that to the Arizona Cardinals for David Johnson, who's been injury prone for the last two seasons. And by the way, it's just a reminder as to why top running backs are not getting paid highly. Just see what's happened with Devontae Freeman, who was cut by the Falcons. And we just saw a few hours ago, Todd Gurley was cut by the Los Angeles Rams. So,
And
so
Clay Matthews.
and yeah, and also he was cut by the Rams as well. But like, I'm just looking at this trade, and I'm like, wow, Arizona is going to be interesting next year because now, um, with um, with with Kyler Murray at quarterback, you got him, and then at running back with with Kenyon Drake, and then at wide receiver you now have Hopkins
Mm-hmm.
and Fitzgerald. That's a very interesting it's a very interesting dynamic there. So and I, I like Matt to be a fly on the wall when Deshaun Watson found out about that trade with Hopkins was probably something he was like when I mean like when he's negotiating his contract he better get every cent imaginable because his team is going to be bad. It's going to be bad, really,
Mm-hmm.
really bad. But also, man, unfortunately, the Steelers they did lose Javon Hargrave. He signed with the Philadelphia Eagles for a lot of money. At the time, I believe it was the most richest the nose tackle money until there was someone else who signed. I forget who signed exactly, but he signed a richer contract. But I believe that Hargrave got 39 million guaranteed or 26 million guaranteed somewhere in that range. So he hit the open market and he cashed out, man. But it's going to suck to see him go. But with the Steelers being so strapped up against the salary cap and with them needing to resign Bud Dupree, which he was an absolute must sign in my opinion, especially to you
After
needed
last
someone.
season.
Yeah, especially after last season, and you needed someone on the opposite side of TJ Watt, because as we have seen in the years prior, when it was literally just TJ, um, or where it was literally just a James Harrison. I mean, like those years were some tough years. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta pay him. He'll be. I would imagine he'll probably come to a contract extension relatively soon. And like right now, I believe with the restructures that they've done, that the Steelers are around $10 to $15 million under the salary cap. So I could see them going after possibly a backup safety, a backup inside linebacker. That's definitely something that they need to address, and also too with the offensive line because with Foster retiring and BJ Finney signing over with the Seattle Seahawks, depth is going to be an issue, and age is also becoming an issue because you figure within the next year or two that Pouncey's probably retiring, and DeCastro, I believe, is going to be 31 soon. So get a little bit long in the tooth there, man.
Yeah. Um, I don't think we talked about this last week. I don't believe because I don't
What's
think it
up?
started. But things are gonna be a little interesting in Tampa Bay with TB. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
official yet. TB going to TB, as it
Yeah.
were.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little bit surprised by this because, I mean, like, pretty much all the reports that you were thinking, like, Tennessee was a heavily rumored team since since the head coach Mike Vrabel was the former player under Bill Belichick. You heard the LA Chargers because of the personnel, and I believe that Brady and his family have a like house over in LA too. That was a possibility. And you also heard rumblings of the Vegas Raiders, but it turns out to be Tampa Bay is the winning franchise who gets Tom Brady, and I think he's getting paid around $30 million a year. Um, and like just how everything ended in New England just seemed like that basically that ownership wanted Brady back, but with Belichick he was ready to move on. Even though I'm not sure what they really do at quarterback. I mean, there's been rumors of them possibly acquiring Andy Dalton. I wonder if they're going to be in like Cam Newton sweepstakes with
Probably.
with him probably getting traded or cut within the next few days, especially with them signing Teddy Bridgewater. So I'm not sure what's going on there because that thing got really personal. But I mean, like this is definitely, in my opinion, the end of the era. I
Oh,
mean,
definitely, yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't care who's at quarterback. Like, just based on the personnel now. I mean, like, unless they get like a Cam, I don't know how good that the Patriots are going to be, especially to that defense got really beat up last year. They haven't really solved their issues at the skills positions, especially at wide receiver. That's been a problem. But for Tom Brady specifically in Tampa, he's going to have something that he quite frankly hasn't had in a long time, is legit weapons at both wide receiver and tight end. And you wonder if Tampa Bay is going to be interested in the Todd Gurley, because if there's one weakness on Tampa Bay's offense, it's definitely with their running back skills position. So that will be interesting to see as well. But I mean, like, as far as them being contenders in that division, I mean, I think outside of the Saints, it's definitely attainable. Because Carolina, in my opinion, they're clearly look to be in a full rebuild. And then Atlanta, I mean, like they have never been the same since that Super Bowl against the Patriots. So
No.
yeah, like that pretty much just crushed their soul in it ever since. That just have never been able to get back on track there. So um, it's going to be a dogfight between them and the Saints because honestly, I feel like if Jameis just didn't turn the ball over so much, that like that would have been a really interesting season because Tampa Bay's roster is not that
Mm.
bad. It's like it's really talented. It's just like when you throw 30 interceptions, it's hard to win games when you're constantly just putting your defense in a precarious position, and that is what Jameis Winston did. And speaking of which, man, I don't know why everyone is linking Jameis Winston to the Steelers. Can you like understand like what's the appeal with this here?
Because everybody was upset from last year with Mason Rudolph not looking as good as everybody thought and all that. So like, hey, he should be okay. Let's get him as
Mm-hmm.
backup. But
Yeah,
I don't know. It just seems like anytime there's a mediocre, like an average quarterback
hmm
um, available, everybody in Pittsburgh's like, well, let's pick him up, back up for
yeah.
Ben.
I mean, I will say this though, just judging by how the quarterback market is right now. I mean, you can't completely rule it out, especially if it's for the right price, because I just don't I just don't think that with James that he's going to find a really solid market in free agency. And we're kind of seeing that already with Cam. Like he's not like they're finding it really hard to find a trade suitor for him, which is why I think eventually that the Panthers are just going to end up releasing Cam, which is crazy to think about. But
And
um, yeah,
uh, the Broncos, you probably saw this wave Flacco.
yeah, I'm not really surprised about that. He when they traded for him last year, I'm like, the guy sucks. All right, like
Right?
it's just like
How
for
how quick did the mighty fall?
yeah, it's just like I mean, like for so many years, you just heard just so many Raven fans defending him, and I'm like, the guy is so bad. He was a product of just being on a really good team with a really good defense for all those years, and then finally he just got exposed, and I think age too finally caught up with him, where like who he is. He's a very average quarterback, and John Elway found that out pretty quickly, and that's why. Even when he had a slight injury, they sat him, and like it was funny too. I remember after one game, he completely buried the whole entire coaching staff, and I was like, "Yep, if he's back by next year, I'll be surprised." Sure enough, here we are. Now I'm not sure what the quarterback situation is going to be like. And the quarterback hasn't been a really fond thing for them.
Yeah, he has a dead cap hit of, hang
What's
on,
what's this here?
13,600,000, 13.6.
Hold on,
Hey,
like,
there you go, Steelers. Picked Joe Flacco up. It's never gonna happen,
okay, all right,
but it'd be hilarious.
okay. Sorry, I got a notification from PNC, which I was scared. I was like, oh, with that whole ban, I was concerned that might have applied to me, but supposedly that does not apply to me.
No, I think no. I think you're essential because my mom works credit union and
Mhm.
she's okay.
Yeah,
So like this coronavirus thing, it
yeah,
is which um still crazy here in PA. We have our governor ordered all non-essential businesses to close
yeah.
by 8 o'clock today. As if this recording is Thursday, the 19th. Um, and then repercussions or fines, whatever, I think go in effect Saturday, I think at
Mhm.
midnight, if nobody shuts down. So, and there's a whole list of stuff, types of businesses that are either open or closed.
A lot of people are losing their jobs right now, man.
Yeah, we got so as of now, as I'm looking right now, it's 242,191 confirmed cases around the world.
Mhm.
China's still leading the way with 81,155, but apparently it's stopped in
Mhm.
China, which I don't like. That's
Oh, hold on, 1 second, man.
okay.
Stand by for a message from the PNC notification. Touch desktop. For PNC use only, this is a message from the PNC notification system. An announcement this evening by Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf requiring the closure of all non-life sustaining businesses due to coronavirus impacts have generated questions from many employees. Please note that this order does not apply to PNC or other banks. All PNC employees should report to work as scheduled tomorrow. Press 2 to replay this message.
Name.
Ah,
Yep, Johnny's still got to report to work tomorrow. Such is life. They're kids. But anyways, you were continuing with the talk.
so I guess China. I don't buy that it just stopped and nobody has any more. Uh, so who knows? But anyways, the United States has 13,159 confirmed cases as of now. Um, Italy, what everybody's comparing to, is 41,035.
Jesus Christ.
So total deaths so far worldwide, 9,843. And Italy is overtaking the lead, if not a competition, with 3,405 deaths out
Mhm.
of the 41,035. Um, Hubei, China used to lead, but they had 3,130. But they have the most recovered, 57,682 reported. And Italy, 4,440. United States, and this is probably going to be down on the list. There we go. Wait, where are you? 108 recovered as of now. So yeah, this is uh, again,
Fluid. It's a fluid situation.
yeah, extremely yes, it's a fluid situation. So like things change day to day. I mean, I'm still out of work, um, or on a break, if you will. Um, through next week, I'm supposed to go back. Um, Let me find the date. I'm supposed to go back the 30th because I work in a school March 30th. But with this order from our governor,
I
who
would imagine.
knows?
I would imagine that that's going to be extended.
Right. And So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know, and at least in the uh, education business, it was announced today, made official that like all the state testing, PSSAs, Keystones, all that are canceled for this year. So I don't have to do those. So yay, Corona. Uh, but everybody's just, at least education, especially worried about high school seniors, um, with because we don't know how long this is going to be with, graduations or proms, because you're only a senior once, and obviously we've been through it. I don't know about you, but senior year and all that stuff it's special, and you have some good memories, hopefully, for those of you who went through high school. It's a good time in your life, and so not being able to do all that stuff, um, probably would suck. I mean, if say this goes longer or through the rest of the school year, even,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's probably disappointing. Right now, maybe not so much, because you have a nice, at least for us, 2 week break at least. But if it goes through, like I said, affecting proms and what have you and graduations, then that kind of ruins, uh, I guess, a year or a couple months of your life that you can't get back. Because like other schools, maybe colleges, I know I read this, but I don't know which ones are doing like virtual graduations
Mm-hmm.
in May, like, which I don't know how that works, but that's like one of those things it's not the same. Like you can't get those back. Like graduation, especially in college, like that's a big thing. I mean, in your life, because you spent all this money and all this time studying and what have you during this, at least maybe 4 years in regular college and all that work, and you get to sit in front of a computer and watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is, I probably, when this first started, uh, not the rumors, but news of this virus from like China and all this, I never thought it would get to this level, because we've experienced, like the swine flu, Ebola, bird flu, all that stuff, and there's
And
always big news stories, rightfully so back then, but it never got to this big before.
no.
So being like off work and things being shut down, it's a uh, weird time to live in. That not so much. It's an inconvenience. It's not so much. It's bad per se. Like, how am I ever going to survive this? Because let's face it. In summification, when I'm not working, I'm laying in bed and I'm doing nothing all day and I'm relaxing. But that's just me because I'm not working in summification. Besides, pirate games downtown. But for majority of people, who work pretty much every day, like yourself, and and everybody else, whatever job you're doing, this is a big wall to run into, if you will. Big change because everything is just not working, and people are buying toilet paper, store shelves are not like gone, empty. You see pictures online. It's just weird times that I don't think we're probably never gonna forget. Hopefully, we never see again. So.
It'll pass over at some point.
Right.
I'm hoping by this summer, but just it's pretty unpredictable right now.
Yeah. Did you see? I think I saw it on Twitter. It was, I think, CBS News. Interviewed people. There was interviewing people on spring break. Damn Gen Zers, just saying, if I get corona, I get corona. Like, they don't care. Like, mad that they can't party. I'm like, are you stupid?
You should know the answer to that question there.
Yes, that was rhetorical. Like, people have to understand that, okay, maybe you don't get sick per se. You don't get the dry cough. You don't get the fatigue or the what's the other symptom? Dry cough, fatigue, or
high fever. High fever.
No, I don't think fever. Oh, shortness of breath. I don't think fever is one or at least not the common ones. Anywho, but you can give it to somebody else. You can give it to, let's say you're on spring break. You can give it to a older person who's working somewhere, or you come home, your parents, your grandparents even, who is more at risk. And if they get sick, you don't want the unfortunate to happen. So it's just not about you as an individual, because we relatively young people can carry it without showing any symptoms. So you may not think you have it. Oh, whoop-de-doo, I can do whatever I want. I can touch my face like I'm doing right now and all that, and then go outside and give a handshake to somebody, and then transfer that over, and then they're sick, and then boom, and then the dominoes fall.
Like, ever since this has come out, man, like, I have washed my hands like more thoroughly than I typipally do. A lot of hand sanitizer, just like Clorox wipes, just like wiping stuff down, like some of you people might think it's not that serious, but like, if you cannot be that naive to think like, oh, just because it's happening over in China or in Italy or on the West Coast, that it's not going to happen here. It can absolutely do.
It is happening here.
Exactly. I mean, hell, just over in Aliquippa, I think they had it confirmed case there. So it's just,
yeah,
it doesn't take much.
And a lot of the times, I think people are saying, it's a good point, that just because new cases are popping up doesn't mean necessarily it's spreading. It's just people are just getting tested and being confirmed. So there could be a lot more cases that we just don't know of.
Yeah.
And obviously could still be spreading, obviously.
But the good news is like, when they're finding people, they're quarantining them, so then it doesn't spread. Which, I encourage people to stay home, and like, there's nothing wrong with staying home. Just get healthy.
These are the times that we're glad that we have things like Netflix and Hulu, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, podcast, YouTube, especially if we're on YouTube, to pass the time, and even things I think I mentioned on Wednesday, like video games are probably big now if you're into that. a
Oh yeah,
couple
like
of times.
yeah, I guarantee you that the online player now is probably at its most highest peak right now.
Peak, even streamers, if you're on YouTube or
They're probably
Twitch, is seeing a lot more, and
well
that's a
when
big. I'm sorry,
when
what?
well when a lot of people are quarantined, like what else are they gonna do?
Yeah,
You know?
and I've been playing some stuff. I've been watching some Netflix. I've been catching up on. I highly recommend if you're into this stuff. And our friend Phil showed us this show, and I've pretty much almost finished with it, caught up. F is for Family on Netflix. It's animated. Um, it gets dirty. It's mature. Let's just say that. So there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff visible in that show, but it's made partly by comedian Bill Burr, which is
Mhm.
hilarious. He voices the main character, the father of the show. We watched a couple, 2 weeks ago, maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
the first episode, and laughing our butts off. And I continued watching it, and they have 3 seasons out. I think 6 episodes in the first season, 10 in the second and third. And one was done with the third. The fourth season's coming out this year sometime. It's just hilarious. Um, it's a good show. I highly recommend it if you're
Mhm.
looking for something to watch on Netflix.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
I know for myself, I'm gonna try and look up some more things to do because starting next Wednesday, I'm going to be working from home, essentially for an entire month. So, I'll basically be in isolation for that time. So it's going to be a weird transition, but it's been something that I've been preparing for too, just because with the coronavirus, it's been a process to say the least. But like I just encourage people just take better care of yourself. Heed caution. Like I don't understand why people are just being so stupid and like, oh, it's not going to prevent me from living my life. I'm like
Because we're
you're
Americans, we're selfish.
very selfish and very ignorant, to say the least. Like it's, I mean, and the thing about South Beach is like, I don't understand why, like, can't the governor like close down that beach there? Like
I don't know if he officially shut it down yet,
he should have. I mean, like
because I know it wasn't until recently.
like I can't figure out why.
Let me
Like
look that up
like
if
the,
I can.
I you would think that they would that the government would have the ability to basically shut it down, like uh, but hey, maybe I'm just thinking about this.
And another thing, at least,
Mhm.
um, governors, Florida closing bars, nightclubs for 30 days, sweeping changes. Oh, it's one day. Wait, governor says party's over for spring breakers. Wait, what's this say here? New York Post here. Um, He said every single beach in the Sunshine State will have to abide by the CDC guidelines against gatherings of more than 10 people, and said law enforcement officials would enforce the rules. So I guess they're going to do it. I guess as of yesterday, he wasn't.
My
Um,
question is why weren't they not doing this? Like when the president said like, hey, there should not be no more gatherings, then they had like
because
10
I don't
people.
know. I don't know. I don't ask questions.
Because there was at least what 300 to 400 people on that beach
Yeah,
a few days ago. I'm
I
just
hope they
like,
all have it.
I mean, like,
I don't feel
wouldn't
bad.
be
I wouldn't feel bad.
surprising, wouldn't be surprising if that happened. So, but well,
So, and another thing that is affecting me that I got to work on is so I'm a best man in a wedding coming up in May, and looking for bachelor party ideas. And the original
Yeah,
idea was Vegas, but
yeah, I remember
with
you telling me about that.
all that stuff is pretty much shut down.
Well, yeah, Vegas,
So
Vegas, shut down their casinos and
at
everything.
least for
So,
30 days.
mhm.
So I mean,
Probably longer.
that's as of now and before we're supposed to go, but still, um, I don't know what to do, and so
Mhm. Yeah,
that's the
I'm
big
just
problem.
I'm just hoping that for his sake and his fiance that they won't have to push back their actual wedding date because of the ban. I mean, like, I mean, you're not. I mean, like, you can't have a gathering of over 10 people right now. So
And that's
that's like,
still 2 months. Holy crap! It's like 2 months away. That's coming quick. But who
well,
knows what happens in 2 months? Maybe it's lifted. Maybe it's lifted
I'm
next month.
I'm hoping so. And to the week prior, Matt, we had that show with, like,
Joe Rogan, gonna see Joe Rogan here at
right.
the
I'm really hoping
downtown.
that doesn't get canceled. But
Imagine just doing the same. Imagine doing this for at least another month to get to that point in May. Imagine
mhm,
April still not. We're still doing this exact same thing.
it won't surprise me, man. Like, it just
It just
like
blows.
it's a very serious thing
If
going
our
on.
numbers go up like 30,000
Mhm,
in the coming weeks, if we match Italy,
mhm,
um, that's
right,
I don't know. We have to see. We have to see. I
mhm,
don't know. It's hard to plan in the future when you don't know what's going to happen.
right. But hopefully, more people are taking this seriously, staying home, and just,
Mm-hmm.
caution, as I said. But I think that's essentially all that we have planned here for today. Um, as we're saying, guys, we're gonna try and do some different themed podcasts. Obviously, with the coronavirus, there's not gonna be too much news. So we'll try to think outside the box a little bit and just try to do more like a theme shows, but more to come on that. So as always, like the video, subscribe, follow us on Twitter. To our Twitter page, Matt and John make a podcast. We drop
You can see
we
down
drop
below.
Okay, and you can see everything down below. We do one podcast per week, and we also do our live reaction shows every Wednesday night after NXT and AEW Dynamite, which hopefully that is still going to be a thing next week. So
Yeah, that's another fluid
yeah,
situation.
and that's also another fluid situation. For
Fluid.
now, for Matt and for John, we're going to say goodbye, and we shall see you next Wednesday, hopefully.